Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and we're spending this week in British Columbia's southern Okanagan Valley. It's a huge wine producing and agricultural region that also is a hotbed of tourism. Come along. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by etrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Bordering the U.S. state of Washington, the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia follows the Okanagan River through several large lakes, including Okanagan Lake, Skaha Lake, Vaso Lake, and Osoyoos Lake. It's known for its sunny climate, dry landscapes, lakeshore communities, and particular lifestyle. The economy is retirement and recreation based, with outdoor activities including boating and water sports, skiing and hiking. This is one of Canada's primary agriculture regions, focused primarily on fruit orchards and vineyards, producing the famed Okanagan Valley wines. Although the fruit-growing possibilities were noticed by early settlers, the first commercial orchard in the area was not established until 1907, growing cherries, apricots, nectarines, peaches, plums, pears, and apples. Irrigation transformed the dry local environment into a lush agricultural belt that today is essentially Canada's Napa Valley. The valley is filled with orchards and vineyards as far as one can see. Driving the north-south oriented BC Route 97 through the valley, it seems that there's a fruit stand or winery every few hundred yards. There are more than 200 licensed wineries across the Okanagan Valley. Most of the Okanagan lies within the rain shadow of the Cascade Mountains to the southwest. The southern part of the valley we're visiting for this grand adventure is marked by hot, dry summers and cool, but not cold, winters. This is the warmest region in all of Canada, and it's also the country's second driest region outside of the Arctic. With its fine weather year-round, the Okanagan Valley has become a popular destination for both vacationers and retirees. There's even an effort underway to establish a national park here. Although judging by the frequency with which we're seeing these signs, there's a lot of local opposition. And yes, these signs are legit, for there are indeed herds of wild horses roaming about here. With 37,000 residents, Penticton is the largest city in the South Okanagan, situated on a small 4-mile piece of the valley floor, sandwiched between Okanagan and Skaha lakes. The first non-native settlers were Irishman Thomas Ellis and his family, who arrived here in 1866. He started to develop a community by building a cattle empire and planting fruit trees. Front Street was Penticton's first street. Sternwheelers began plying the waters of both Okanagan and Skaha lakes in 1892, bringing more goods and services to the area. The SS Keremeos arrived here during World War I, while the Kettle Valley Railway began to bring passengers here as well. Penticton has extensive parklands, with 7 broad sandy beaches along both of its lake shores. The city is positively immaculate, as most of the small cities we visited in Western Canada this season have been. While there are numerous campgrounds and RV parks in the Okanagan Valley, we found most to be either heavily treed, unreasonably cramped, overpriced, or all of the above. So we're instead staying just a few miles outside the valley itself at Twin Lakes Golf Course and RV Park. This campground is still in the midst of a massive redesign and expansion, so construction is still very much underway here. Many of the campsites don't even have their utilities completed yet, and some amenities, like the campground showers, are still under construction. Still, the campground has great potential once the build-out is complete, especially for those who like to combine RV camping and golf, as many of our neighbors have been doing. I'm not a fan of how most sites put campers back to back, but that's a minor quibble. Our 50-amp full hookup site here costs $55 Canadian per night, or just under $40 US per night at today's exchange rate. We'll bring you lots more of the Okanagan Valley right after a brief message from our valued video sponsor, etrailer. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor etrailer has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. While Penticton mixes resident life and tourism, Osoyoos focuses more on welcoming tourists and seniors. The town has gained an enviable reputation as the community of choice for retirees who wish to escape harsher Canadian winters, only 2.5 miles from the US border. The town's average daytime temperature is the warmest in Canada. Tourism in the Osoyoos area is stimulated by many amenities. Osoyoos Lake is the warmest freshwater lake in Canada, according to the town and the BC Park System, with reported average summer water temperatures of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The lake is surrounded by many sandy beaches, parks, and picnic grounds. The town's popularity among retirees is reflected in the age of the average resident at 55.4 years, nearly 15 years older than the population of British Columbia as a whole. Seniors comprise 43% of the town population. Haynes Point Provincial Park, also known by the native name sఝiଶ୍ୱs, occupies a narrow spit of land jutting out into Osoyoos Lake, between the town and the US border. It includes 41 dry campsites for $32 Canadian per night. There's also waterfront overflow camping along the access road. A few miles west of the Okanagan Valley, and about 15 minutes from our campground, in the village of Keremeos is a functioning grist mill that dates to 1877. In 1871, Barrington Price, an English gentleman from an upper-class family, took over the Hudson Bay Company's ranch land and trading post here. By 1877, Price opened this water-powered mill, to turn locally grown wheat into flour, along with an associated store. Restored by the province of BC in 1981, and now operated as the Grist mill at Keremeos, the mill produced coarse flour from a cast iron grinder when it first opened, but transitioned to a new invention of the time, the much desired white flour, in 1881, following the addition of 2 state-of-the-art stone roller grinders. Powered by water, flour was then made in 3 stages of grinding with sifting in between each stage. Power from the water wheel was transmitted through a system of belts and pulleys. Grain was first weighed, then poured down a central chute to the cleaning machine. Next, a bucket elevator lifted clean grain to the first grinder, followed by the sifting machine. On the lower level, the upright wooden Eureka cleaning machine separates wheat, dust, and chaff. On the grinding platform are also 2 grinders with millstones to produce fine flour. The backshot wheel and flume were reconstructed in 1984, based on archaeological work that uncovered the historic foundation timbers beneath 8 inches of silt. The mill ceased work in 1904 and Price returned to England. The mill then sat idle for decades prior to its restoration in the 1980s. The mill isn't the only historic building on site. What was once Price's general store is now the mill's museum building. Bedroom wings were added to each side in 1894 when the store became home to the Coulthard family. This fruit storage house, built in the 1900s for apples, has 18-inch thick concrete walls that maintain the interior temperature at 54 degrees year-round. The Welcome Center also houses a tea room serving fresh scones and cookies, and a restaurant serving homemade soup, salads, and sandwiches overlooking the lushly manicured gardens. Okanagan Falls, on the south shoreline of Skaha Lake and just north of Vaso Lake, is the closest village of any size to our campground. Founded in 1893 as Dogtown, it was renamed for a small set of the falls at the outlet of Skaha Lake that have since been submerged beneath the lake by a dam on the Okanagan River. This is also home to Okanagan Falls Provincial Park, the nicest government-run campground that we've found in the valley. There's nothing else here besides the campground. The park is the campground, and the campground is the park. We'll be right back with a wine tasting, an historic steam train, and a great hike to a picturesque waterfall, right after we take a quick ad break, so stay tuned. I'd be remiss if I visited the South Okanagan without visiting a winery. A friend who's much more of a wine connoisseur than I am combined a camping and climbing trip here a few years back and recommended the Burrowing Estate Winery. An estate winery is vertically integrated from start to finish, from exclusively growing their own grapes to bottling. You're under no obligation to purchase a bottle, or 3. And this won't break the bank. A tasting flight of 5 wines. And my assigned sommelier actually served me 7. Cost $5 Canadian, or about $3.50 US.
Winemaker was hoping that the people that enjoy this particular wine will is going to present itself much different than that Chardonnay because it's totally a different grape. It is 54% Syrah, 46% Cabernet Sauvignon. Those grapes were Provincial. This is a fortified port-like dessert wine. It is 100% Syrah grape that it has been.
I was sufficiently impressed that I ended up with several souvenirs from Burrowing Owl to bring back home with me. Just northwest of Penticton sits the final remaining 10 miles of track from the Kettle Valley Railroad, including the highest structure on the entire railway, the trestle and bridge crossing Trout Creek. Here, the track stretched for 619 feet on the Trout Creek Bridge. Completed in 1913, 238 feet above the creek below. If you time it right, you can witness the heritage excursion train of the Kettle Valley Steam Railway cross the bridge. Built as a coal-burning locomotive by Montreal Locomotive Works in 1912, the Spirit of Summerland 280 was converted to oil in 1929. It put in many miles working in the Crow's Nest area of southern British Columbia and Alberta before being retired in 1966. After subsequent years, showcased in museums, and even appearing in a Disney movie, number 3716 was eventually leased to the Kettle Valley Steam Railway. I'm going to spend a laid-back Saturday taking a short hike to Naramata Falls. Situated on the Naramata Bench, above Okanagan Lake, northeast of Penticton, this is an out-and-back hike following Naramata Creek that takes less than an hour to complete round trip. About 15 minutes in, you get to choose your adventure. The left fork is reportedly very, very steep with lots of loose sand. The middle fork is the official path, whereas the right fork's unofficial trail is reportedly the easiest. And I'm all about easy. The right fork, however, does include 2 stream crossings that could be trickier when the flow is greater. It's not necessary to use now, but they've come up with some creative and fun ways to cross the creek when it's flowing more. It took quite a bit of scrambling to get here, but it was worth it. I can't think of a better place to sit and have lunch. After that bit of exercise, I think that I've earned a bit of refreshment. We hope that you've enjoyed exploring the southern Okanagan Valley with us. Now, this is our last stop after 3.5 months of wandering around Western Canada, with a token stop in the Alaska Panhandle as well, because we're going to get packed up here and head back across the border into Washington State. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, it is extremely important to us that if you liked this episode from the Okanagan Valley, please be sure to give us a huge thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section, where we love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday from Winthrop, Washington, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.